it's that time of the year when the auto industry starts pinching its pennies and deciding which cars can we get rid of the next year that people won't really notice too much. But unlike last year, this year is kind of really a mixed bag. There's some that I'm really sad to see go, and there's some that, well, I'll be dancing on their graves. That's just what we'll say for them. So with that, let's get into it. Alright, well, let's start with the Kia Soul. Now, a lot of people that haven't watched this channel are going to expect me to do the average thing that the normal car enthusiast would do and tap dance on its grave. But you want to know what? I'm going to do something that barely any other car enthusiast can do, and I'm going to make peace with the Soul. I never really hated the Soul. I mean, was it a great car? No. Was the engine good? No. Was it irredeemable considering its competitors? Yes. Was the styling really ugly in the second generation and first generation? The middle one refresh was kind of okay. Yes. But at the same time, you want to know what? Kia did a good job with this car. I think they really nailed it. They got the most they could out of this platform by making it boxy. That's the right choice to make, right? You need the most cargo space, you need the most headroom, and making it boxy while making it stylized in the front, it's the perfect shape to maximize the most out of that platform, get the most cargo space. I love it. Fantastic job. The wheels were too big towards the ending generations, but, a lot of people like this car. A lot of people raised families in this car, and I don't hate it. It's okay. I mean, was it a fantastic car? No, but I'm sad to see it leave. I mean, it's been a big part of car culture for a long time now. When people stopped hating on the Prius, because people eventually got over it, this kind of became the default car to hate. And, well, you want to know what? To car enthusiasts, I lecture them with my sanctimonious lecture, and I say, you can't hate everything forever. And I think that this car was pretty decent. I really don't have a problem with it, and I'm really sad to see it go. Dear Ford, God rest its brain. I mean, they're killing off the Ford Escape. First of all, I want to talk about the refresh. They did this thing dirty. This was the previous refresh, is the one with the Ford logo on top of the grille, and then they changed it around and added a light bar. Ford, that's like a reverse update. The car looks worse, and I keep trying to think, why would they do this to the Ford Escape to make it look so hideous? I mean, especially, I think the old one was a good-looking car, and they made it look ugly and frumpy with this gigantic nose like a BMW, and I'm like, Ford, why would, what did big girls test better with audiences in rural areas? Why would they do this? Also, the Bronco Sport was the best business decision Ford has made in a while. The Ford Maverick, love that. Small trucks, hybrids, that really is the way to go. But we really can't just keep one frog-like looking SUV. They all have to be either a Bronco or a Bronco Sport. Ford, you do realize that when people stop liking trucks and when people stop liking SUVs, and I don't mean, and they go for more crossovers and rugged SUVs, and the Ford Bronco Sport, which I believe has yet to have an update, loses its touch, you're going to be up shit creek without a paddle. I mean, they really have no other cars except for their trucks and their SUVs. And that's not a bad thing. I mean, stick to what works. But if that stops working, I mean, they're royally screwed. They've also killed off the Lincoln Corsair because it's just a Ford Escape. I really don't, I mean, I wasn't ever a Lincoln guy or a Ford guy, except for when they started doing things right, and, I mean, it's a fine car. I really have nothing to say. I mean, it's fine, I guess. Alright, well, also, the cheapest car in America is also dying. I know, you're absolutely so shocked. The Mitsubishi Mirage is gone, the Kia Rio and Hyundai, whatever that thing was called, is gone, and so is the Nissan Versa. Nissan is no longer a maker of small cars or a maker of I really cannot figure that out. What do they make? Do they make trucks? Do they make SUVs? I mean, at least they're not killing off the Rogue like Ford. What is their niche now? Is it EVs? Because the Nissan Ariya, another EV that was supposed to save, Nissan, is also dying. I mean, they have a new Leaf, but I mean, really, what cars do they make? What are they known for? And the answer to that is nothing. The Nissan Ariya was a good car. I kind of liked it. It was a decent EV. They didn't make it look all EVE. I did think it was really ugly around the front, and I don't like this genre of this gigantic hood, this small little windshield that you can't see anything out of, blind spots, chunkier than a mini fridge, on every single pillar, and then this tiny little boot and this tiny little back seat. It's like they took the front off of a Lincoln Navigator and the back off of a 90s, Corolla or Civic hatch. I mean, it's ridiculous. But the car was fine. It looked fine. For a lot of people, they liked it. They bought it. They leased it. And that's good for them. And I'm also, again, I'm sad to see it go, but not really. And now we're seeing this pattern. You're going to see this pattern a lot more in this video. They're killing off cars because they want to save the parts and stuff for EVs, but the EVs also aren't doing well. The Ford Escape was killed off to make more Ford EVs. Just recently, Ford said, well, the Ford F-150 Lightning isn't selling and none of the Ford, electrified products are selling. So seriously, they're killing off cars that do sell for cars that won't sell because I can't figure it out. These are the same companies that will kill off a car 5 years before it stops hitting sales because they've done the market research and they know that it's coming. And I mean, seriously, they really couldn't figure this out. They couldn't tell that these EVs were not going to sell well in time for them to stop canceling these cars to make room for them. I mean, this is ridiculous. It's a joke. Sorry, also about Nissan, they also killed the Altima, which is like, why? What cars are you going to sell? The Maxim is gone. All the sedans are gone. Literally, all the sedans are gone. You sell the Leaf, and then a few, like the Murano, and a few other unmemorable SUVs. And I think they've even killed that off, too. Like, Nissan, you are selling cars to nobody. Even with your partnerships with Mitsubishi and Honda, you're still not doing anything. This is an issue. I get why they're killing off these cars, because they're old, they're dated, and they don't have the money or wit to be able to update them. But if they just keep killing off the cars that become dated that they don't have the money to update, they're going to kill off the entire lineup, just like they did with the Aria and all these stupid EVs, which they're killing their actually good models off to make. It's ridiculous. It's a business strategy that is going to end in disaster. The Chevy Malibu staying around is kind of shocking, because I get that there's some old people. Like, the entire reason why this exists is because there wasn't really a Buick around, and old people wanted an American car sedan, and that's why they kept this around. But I think they would have made a lot more money if they would have killed this off instead of the Cruze, and then kept the Cruze and killed the Cruze now. Because they could have updated it, people would have bought it, especially the hatchback, maybe make it a hot hatch. They just didn't do that, and they kept this around for old people. And that's okay. I'm sad to see it go, but again, not really. It wasn't really a fantastic car. They did a really dumb ad marketing campaign of people thinking, oh, it's so nice, it's got to be European or something. Like, American car companies aren't capable of making something nice, which they've proved over and over again they in fact are not. But it's sad to see it go, but meh, I don't really care. Subaru is also just doing this thing now where they act like Nissan. They make the stupidest decisions where they cancel off these cars that, it makes no sense. The Outback has always been the wagon version of the Legacy. The Legacy is not the sedan version of the Outback. And if they wanted a sedan like the current, an SUV like the current Outback, why couldn't they just invent one? They've created like 3 new EV models for 2024, all mainly front-wheel drive. Why couldn't they just do that, name that one, whatever they wanted it, and keep the Outback the same? I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me. Now, Audi is running around and killing every single sedan they have. Yeah, so essentially they're killing off all the entry-level sedans and then the really big sedans. So the S8 and A8, the Sportback, and the regular, sedan are both being killed off. Sorry, the S7 and A7. So that's unfortunate. They've also killed off the A4 and A4 All-Road, which is really sad because the A4 All-Road was like a nice entry-level wagon, and it's sad that we're seeing more wagons die, and people did like them. Like, when people bought them, there was a community around them, but they're killing that off. And also, Audi has forgotten that they're a luxury brand. You're not competing with Toyota and Honda in terms of sales. Sure, the cars weren't selling fantastic, but you could update them, you could make them better, you could make an attempt to salvage them without just slashing them. You're not Volkswagen, because that's really where this is coming from. Volkswagen is a failing car company, and they're passing off their indecisiveness and their crappiness and their sales onto Audi, and that's really unfortunate for us and for every single Audi consumer. Well, the Acura TLX is dying. What it is essentially a fancier version of the Honda Accord. Now, is this really interesting? No, a lot of sedans are dying, and luxury sedans are having it the worst. But what is interesting is that Toyota, Honda, those 2 car companies have really stuck out by not killing their sedans. Subaru, they've canceled the Legacy, and, the Impreza is now only a hatchback, which competes with the Crosstrek, but I digress. Those 2 car companies are really the only ones that are still selling sedans. And so if the Acura version of the Accord is dying, what does that say about the Accord? Not a whole lot, but it could hint at maybe what's to come, and maybe Honda may either update the Accord, even though the Accord's sales numbers are declining, or maybe follow the trend and cancel it altogether. But we don't know that. All we know is that Acura is canceling a mediocre sedan, which is fine. It offers great performance, it's fine, but over a Lexus or another brand, as long as it's not like Genesis or something stupid like that, then, it's not really that fantastic. Too many brands. That's what GM has right now. Cadillac is canceling the XT4 and the XT6, and this is not difficult to understand at all. There's just too many GM brands all competing with each other. You've got Buick, who's really locked in on the SUVs, like people are buying those. Cadillac, who doesn't have sedans, doesn't have SUVs, barely has EVs, they have nothing. And then you have Chevrolet, who has cheap cars. So what even is Cadillac anymore? Cadillac is so in the midst of an identity crisis, all they can sell is fast cars. They're turning into Dodge. I mean, they're only buying the Blackwing coupes and stuff like that. They're not really known for anything, and the identity crisis is so bad that they can't even sell SUVs. That's like not being able to sell a sedan during the 2000s. If you can't do that, you're screwed, you know? I mean, seriously. So, am I really that sad to see them go? No, they were mediocre, and they were kind of always meh, you know, okay. But all this shows is that, you know, GM's entire sedan, you know, get rid of SUV replacement, you know, strategy for all their car companies, all their car brands, rather, I should say, isn't really working out, and that people still want some diversity between the brands, and that's what Cadillac is suffering from right now. Why would I buy a Cadillac XT4 when I can get a Chevy Equinox for $20,000 cheaper? It just doesn't make sense, especially in this economy, where we don't have a recession, but it's kind of worse than a recession, where it's just this ever stagnant period of you know, like it feels like we're never going to get out of it, and people just aren't buying cars. There's even less hope than a recession. It's just like it's always going to be this way from now until forever, you know. There's no light at the end of a tunnel. The recessions eventually end. Nowadays it's just, well, the default market and everything, and the default, you know, average salary and everything, it's all stagnant. This is normal, you know, and that's kind of sad for a lot of people, and really, I don't blame them. This one is just, I don't really have an opinion. It's like the QX55 and the QX50 that are being discontinued, and I hate both of them. I hate Infiniti. I'm sorry, Infiniti owners. They were okay at some point, but they're just so bad. Why would you even want this? You get a Nissan, but worse? It's like, what? Why? You get the CVTs, you get nothing. You don't get that much in a bump in quality. They're not even in vogue. And there's so many other brands like Buick. Buick is more reliable than Infiniti. Like, why would you do this? Like, out of all the semi-Japanese... And also, you want to know why? Nissan is so bad? Because it's a French-Japanese partnership, and the issue is that you get the complexity of the French cars, but for some reason you get a botched attempt at reliability from the Japanese side. So it's really just a French car but overcomplicated, and that's what these are too. They sell like crap, they're stagnant, and also these again, I've been saying this for so long, these stupid coupes, these SUVs, because that's what the QX55 and QX50 generally are, except it's either the 50 or the 55 that is a little bit squarer. That's the difference. They're pretty much the same car, just different, like how do you want it. I've been saying that these don't sell well at all, and yet no one ever, yeah, they sell fantastic, you know, we're going to close our eyes and pretend like they're selling great. They don't sell great, and finally we're at an economic squeeze where they have to cut off the dead weight, and I knew it. I've always been able to tell that these SUVs, these coupes, were never really selling well, and you want to know what? They always doubted me, and I feel like I've been proved correct. But compared to Infiniti, Genesis is so much worse. It's just a Hyundai. They're not even that better. Hyundai, the issue is, the only thing that Genesis had over regular Hyundais was styling in, you know, semi-luxury, you know, and they didn't catch on fire, and that was great. That's all they had over them. Now, Hyundai is more luxurious, and they don't catch on fire. They have pretty much the same styling. The gear shifters are hideous. That crystal ball, I think that's the most gaudy piece of garbage I've ever seen. The styling just doesn't look great. Like the Hyundai Sonata, I think, is a better looking car than this. This is the Genesis G80 electrified. Did you even know that they made an electric version of the G80? Who's gonna miss this? I didn't even know there was a G80, because I don't even care, and no one does. They don't sell that well, and the only reason why they sell is because of leases. People want to lease a nice car. I want a nice car, and they buy these, and they're not nice at all. And quite frankly, I don't care. Now, you want to know what? The original Genesis, the Hyundai Genesis, that was a fantastic car. It was great, it handled great. Genesis's performance lines, fantastic, love it, great cars. Everything else, why would you want that? Especially when the price is so much increased, when essentially all you're getting is like a Hyundai Sonata. They're not that different in quality anymore, so there's no point in splurging for this. Lexus is having a few brands, you know, around the entire world that have just been axed. You know, they have like the UX 300e, their electric version of the UX. No one wanted that. They're killing off most of the IS lineup, like the hybrids and stuff, and the V8, so that's really sad. But the RC, this is the Lexus RC and RCF, they've completely killed that. That's officially completely gone from the Lexus lineup, and that's sad. You know, I feel like a little piece of Lexus died. Now, usually I'd be complaining about this more if the Lexus LS didn't get killed off the year before. That's the one that I'm actually sad about. This one, for enthusiasts, that's really sad, but as long as Lexus is still somewhere, because you want to know, for Toyota, I know that they're rational. I know that there's an adult in the room, you know what I mean? I know that as soon as this current financial situation is over, the LS is going to come back. The RC is going to come back. I always keep calling it the RS. They're all going to come back, and I trust in that because they know their legacy, they know their heritage, and they know that that's important to them. They just have to do this temporarily, and I understand that. I highly doubt that in my lifetime, somewhere in the near future, that these will not be coming back. So it's unfortunate that they're not here for the now, but I'm sure that it will not be permanent. It's just things are not going very well with the auto industry at all at the moment. Hooray, the Wicked Witch is dead. I knew that no one wanted, this is the BMW X4 that's finally being axed. I hated this piece of trash. I always knew that people didn't want these. No one wants a gigantic hood from an SUV, the visibility of an SUV where you can't see shit, the back seat out of a Geo Metro, and then, like the trunk space of a Corvette. I mean, who in their right mind would want that? And to call it a coupe, ridiculous. I knew, there's bubbles where cars that would never succeed anywhere else in the history of the auto industry could succeed for maybe months or years at a time. This was one of those. These are finally being put in the bin where they deserve, because they stink. And were they bad cars? They were fine. The performance versions were kind of nice looking. They were okay cars. They were fine. But I knew that people didn't actually want these because no one actually knows what they want. So they gamble on something, they end up selling it, and it stops selling, and then the car companies are left holding the bag. I knew it. Again, it's another one of these, not the same genre of cars, but a car that should have never existed. This is the hideous EQB. It's the electric version of the GLB, and it's just bad. It's just this weird SUV combo thing that's an EV with this gigantic front grille. It's a fish. My favorite thing about this is that, we're returning to luxury. No more of this cheap shit, this cheap, just chintzy EVs. Just get rid of them all, except for the good ones. And this is, I think, a progression of that. No one really wanted these, and I'm glad that they're being killed off, but not as happy as another one on this list. But I always knew it. When these came out, I said these are not going to exist for more than a few months. And I was right. And I don't take solace, I'm not enjoying in that. Well, maybe a little bit. Because, it was kind of an okay car. But, really, did you even know that this thing existed before they killed it off? Probably not, because no one knew that it existed, because no one cared past the launch date and them going, well, look, Mercedes is doing so much. Return back to luxury, stop making EVs. Really, no one wants them. And again, that's not political. That's not, well, my side doesn't like EVs. Your side is weird. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying generally, the public would rather have a combustion engine car than an EV, and the sales numbers for these new EVs are proving me again and again and again. This is also sad. I love Volvo as a car company. I said to my friends, you want to know what? I'm thinking of getting a Volvo. And they looked at me and they said, what? They didn't know what this car brand was doing, except for the 60 series. A lot of people know the XC60, the S60, the V60, the 60 series, and especially the 40, 50, and 30 series. They really helped launch Volvo into being more popular. Sorry, it's very echoey in here. And now they're killing them all off. They're killing the S90, they're killing the S60, they're killing the V60, the cross country will still be around, and the V90 and V90 cross country. Again, very sad. And also the V60 cross country is being killed. All of their wagons, Volvo, the only car company that has stayed around with wagons, are all being killed, and all their sedans and everything. Why? To make room for bullshit, shit EVs that no one wants. No one knows about the EVs that big car makers are making, much less Volvo, who has, 2% market share? No one wants this, and it's just in the, and I would be more upset about this, except for I know the fact that all these cars that Volvo have been making are going to remain in dealerships for the next 20 years, and you can buy them brand new like the Dodge Dart. And also I know that they're going to last for hundreds of thousands of years, and eventually they're probably going to come back once Volvo realizes that they should not colonize themselves with this bullshit mentality of everyone wants things, even when they say that they don't, and they're eventually going to bring back these models. I need to tell myself that way I can sleep at night, because Volvo is a car company that on this channel there's a list of brands that I like to glaze, Mitsubishi, just brands that I think are better than the others that stand out. Volvo is on that list, and they're pulling their punches, and that's sad to see, considering they had to fight so hard to get where they were right now, and they're just giving up. Porsche. Again, I'm a big fan of Porsche. There are McLaren fans, there are Ferrari fans. I'm a big Porsche fan. I like Porsche. I have a, book of historical models. My family bought one once. We ended up selling it because, who needs a fancy car? We're not that type of family. But they're pretty nice cars, and they're killing off the 718, which is sad, and a lot of people are going to miss it, but meh. when has Porsche not done this? They've always been kind of hurting for cash and struggling, so I'm not really surprised that they're having to kill off models now. They have done it in the past. They're going to keep doing it in the present. That's because they're not Toyota or Honda that expects constant sales, even though their sales are massively declining because, and I can't blame it on EVs, just people just apparently don't want Porsches. You know, it's unfortunate, but I mean, it happens before and it's going to happen again, and I guess this is just what we're going to have to live with now. I'm so happy. I can't explain it. I can't. I'm so happy. Okay, you know the Honda Accord Crosstour? Well, Acura had a version of that, and they called it the ZDX. The Z and the X, ZDX, because it was fun, it was new, it was imaginative Acura before they, were put in chains and said, you can't do anything that's not Honda, and it was fun, it was nice, it was a great car, it was a fantastic car, it rode well, it had a nice leg room in the back, it had fantastic storage space, and they stole the name from this unique piece of automotive history for a piece of shit, gaudy piece of garbage GM product rebadged as an Acura. That's right. You notice how many lug nuts there are in that Acura? There are 6. When the Honda Prostate, when they were trying to show that around, and I saw the 6 lug nuts, I'm like, there is no way in hell that's a Honda, because I know Honda is not that stupid to waste an extra lug nut on this stupid bullshit. I knew that. It's a GM. Why? Because of course it is. What car company is so shamelessly, Mr. Big Guy Rugged, that they have to use 6 lug nuts in every single one of their cars? It's GM. And this is going to create an entire other Toyota 86 problem. The Chevy dealerships are not going to know what to do with this thing. I mean, the Chevy dealerships barely know what to do with the Chevy Equinox EV, that piece of shit, which is what this is based on. The Honda dealerships are going to be out in outer space. So if this thing ever needs a recall, you're up shit creek. If this thing ever needs anything, you're up shit creek. They're just going to tell you, we'll go to GM down the street. I don't blame them. So again, I'm happy that the ZDX name is the car. And again, I don't know why people don't trust when I tell them that things will not sell. I saw this thing and I said, these car company, I love that about the United States government. We can read a license plate from outer space and we can't figure out how to balance a budget. Honda can cancel cars 9 years before they, go out of production because they sense changing tides. And yet they partner with GM, an unreliable car company, so that they can absolutely kill their reputation. And why? Why would they do this? And then they steal the name of a car which people actually liked. Ridiculous. It's like if I made like a Geo Metro, put a Honda badge on it and called it the Civic. Ridiculous. Alright, another one I'm really not shocked at. BMW, Volkswagen, they're going to get a lot of slack from me on this one, but Jeep, I kind of understand it. So we're going to do these in tandem, just to wrap up the video, because I don't want it to be 43 minutes long. So let's just begin, which is how long I've planned it to be. So let's get into it. The ID Buzz. This was another car. I mean, who is this for? It's a minivan. And I appreciate that they tried to do what I always tell them to do, which is bring back their heritage, bring back a historical model, and that's the same thing that Jeep tried to do, but they're in 2 instances. Jeep was comfortable enough to bring back the Wagoneer, which doesn't have as good name recognition as the Grand Wagoneer, and they made it huge compared to the old model. I don't care. They're killing that off because it doesn't sell well. Fair enough, Jeep, you want to know what? I really don't care. And kill off the Wagoneer S, that EV, kill that off too while you're killing this one off. But Volkswagen, I mean, you are killing off like the Golf and the Jetta. They're not actually doing that, but that's essentially what they're doing. They're closing in on models, making one interior color. They're just condensing them until they're the size of a marble. Their market share is just so small. They're in financial troubles, and they decide to bring back this gaudy, gigantic EV bus thing. Again, if we're having trouble selling Jettas and Golfs, how are we going to figure out how to sell the ID Buzz? I'm surprised this even lasted as long as it did. There are some concept cars where I'm like, oh, they totally should have made it to production. This is one that I think shouldn't have made it to production. And I'm not saying that because I don't think it's a neat car. It's a neat car, it's a cool car, I'm glad that they brought it back, it's fantastic. But for a company in the position that Volkswagen is in, you don't start bringing back cars that didn't sell well when they were brand new. The old models didn't even sell well. That's not what you do, even if it's a cool concept. So with that, thank you for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And tell me which ones you're the most sore over, because still, I'm pretty upset about a few of those, especially Volvo. I mean, come on, guys. All right, well, I bid you adieu, and I will see you all real soon.